Hi, Paul from Alaska. How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? Well, today I want to talk a little bit about brushes um, and soap scuttles or soap bowls or dishes. Um, I have always used a bowl and a brush, and I always bought your typical $3 brush from the grocery store and used it until it started to fall apart or whatever, and then tossed it and got myself another one. It was $3. Who cares? So when I really started to get into the wet shaving and make it part of my lifestyle, I guess you could say, um, I really wanted to start getting some brushes that had some longevity and were comfortable to use. And I'm sold on the boar brushes. I like boar brushes simply because I've had some bad experiences with badger brushes, and I've never had a quality, what I'm going to say, an extreme quality badger brush. Um, so let's start out with a boar brush. This is an Omega um, long handle boar brush. Um, I believe it's 10098 uh, is the item number, and it's just a cheap plastic handle, but the knot itself is quality. It's got a lot of backbone to it. Um, One thing I'll say about when you start getting into brushes, boar brushes or badger brushes, they're going to smell when you get them. And I can honestly say that every Omega brush that I've gotten, um, it had a little bit of smell to it when you pull it out of the box, but after you've used it once or twice, there's no animal smell left to it, none whatsoever. Fantastic brush, 12, $13 I think on Amazon. Fantastic brush. I love this brush, and it's got an extremely long handle. And the reason that I like that is if I go to a cup, a shaving cup, I can get down in that cup and lather my soap up without having soap all up my hand or on the end of my brush. It keeps you out of the soap. The next one is a relatively new purchase. This is the Omega. It's a Omega 48. I think I've got 4 uses on this one now. Um, its catalog number, I believe, is 10048. Yeah. Anyway, it's the Omega 48. I suppose this one will be the 98. This is listed as a long-haired brush, but if you compare it to the 48, the 48's longer hair. It just This has that nice long handle. This has a little shorter of a handle, but you get down in there into your cup and you're not going to have soap all over your hand. Fantastic brush. And let's see if this will pick it up. 4 uses and it's already getting its split ends, and it's I love it. It's a great brush. Love the Omega Boar brushes. I can definitely recommend those two. Um, let's talk a little bit. If you go into and get a custom, you're not going to get a janky custom brush. If somebody's making custom brushes, they're going to stand behind them, and you're going to get a good brush. Now here's one, a restoration job that I did, and this is an old vintage Ever Ready. It had a badger knot in it, and it was just a teeny tiny little knot. It was probably the size of my thumb, and it was pretty wore out, sad looking. But all I wanted was the handle, so I purchased it and got the handle, and then I bored it out with I believe it was a 1-inch Forstner bit, filled the bottom um, up to where I wanted my knot, and then I purchased online a fantastic um, brush that is or knot that's a synthetic knot, and it's dyed to look like badger, but this is a fantastic synthetic knot. It's got some good backbone to it, and it feels luxurious on your skin, very similar to what a badger brush would feel like. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have. I've used a different synthetic knot that was pretty rough. It felt like you were scrubbing your face with fish line, but this is very soft and luxurious with backbone. Anyway, this has become one of my favorite brushes for face lathering. Um, the old Eveready. Now let's talk about a disappointment. So I always bought Vanda Hagen's boar brushes, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get one of those Badger brushes that everybody raves about. Badger, Badger, Badger. So I went ahead and purchased Vanda Hagen's Deluxe Badger brush, and this is the second one. The first one shed so bad that you couldn't even use it, and I tried and tried and thought, well, it's going to stop shedding, and no, it didn't. So I sent them an email and I said, you know what? I purchased your luxury Badger brush, and it started shedding immediately and has not stopped. It's horrible. It leaves my soap full of hair, leaves my face covered in hair, and I told them, I said, I am going to post a video and do a review and just tell people what I think about your brush. Well, immediately they sent me an email back and said, what's your address? We're sending you a new brush. And 2 days later, the FedEx man shows up at my house with this brush in a nice box and gives it to me. And I was shocked. I was impressed with their customer service. So it didn't shed at first, and about 3 shaves in, it started shedding, and it is just, can you see that? It's just covers your face in hair, fills your soap up with hair. So I use this for, I don't know, up at work, probably a dozen times, 2 dozen times, something like that. And then I'm lathering up in my bowl, and boom, the knot just fell out. I couldn't believe it. And it was the only brush I had at work, so I had to keep using it. And I spent my 2 weeks up at work and got home and said, that's enough of that nonsense. So that's when I did the synthetic brush. I said, no more. So anyway, I cannot give a good recommendation for Vanda Hagen's Deluxe Badger shave brush. Let's talk a little bit about what we put our soap in. So this is Crown King Scuttle, and as you can see, there's ridges on the inside, which helps to aerate your soap as you're building lather, and this will build a lather really quick, really nice. That's such a great addition to your soap bowl. And the way you use this is you fill it up with water. It's a double chamber, double wall. You fill it up with warm water, and I fill it up with warm water out of the sink, and then I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to get it good and warm. And I also put water up to about there in here, and then I'll take my brush and let my brush soak in that nice warm water. It's at the hot end, not too hot, but I'll let my brush soak in that while I take my shower, and then it's ready for me when I'm ready to shave. Excellent. So you get your soap on your brush, and then you go to the scuttle, just like that. Works great. Our other option is a good old-fashioned shave mug, and this one happens to be Vanda Hagen. This is a kind of a generic mug, and different companies buy them and have their logos put on them. But it's got a stub here, and you can hold it like that. I suppose you can hold it like that. That's not real comfortable for me. I like to just palm it, wrap my finger around it like that. And you put your shave puck, your soap in there, and then water, you bloom it, whatever, and you go to town. And like I said, what's nice about this long handle brush is you're not getting soap all over your hands. You go to a shorter brush like this, see you're down in there, you're getting a little soap on your hands, and I don't like that. The other option is, especially if you use a lot of different puck soaps and you don't want to leave them in your scuttle or your shave bowl, just at your local grocery store or convenience store, you can pick up a nice little, probably $1.50 or something like this. It's just a little sauce bowl, I suppose, and you can put your hard puck in there, bloom it, whatever you're gonna do. Go ahead, load your soap up on your brush, and then go to either your bowl or go to your scuttle and build your lather, or go right to your face. And if you're a face latherer, this brush is excellent for face lathering. And then when you're done, you just let this air dry. And for instance, this is a Colonel Conk soap. You let it dry, drop it back in its little plastic container there, put it on your shelf with the rest of your shave products. Anyways, that's my thoughts on, and as they say, your mileage may vary, because this is just my opinion. I love these. I love this. This, not so much. Anyway, take care out there in YouTube land. Continue to wet shave and enjoy yourself with your shave. Adios, Paul from Alaska.